Mr. Investor, welcome back to the channel, baby. Today we're going to be talking about Bionano Genomics. We will be covering what's been going on in the UK and a new action plan to actually help millions of people with rare disease. While individually rare diseases are collectively common. Not only will we be looking at the UK's plan, but let's look at Bionano Genomics' plan for tackling rare disease. We'll take a look and see how that weighs up with Genomics England as well. Genomics England is actually a company within the UK which was set up by the Department of Health and Social Care to run the 100,000 Genomes project. Their focus is on rare disease and cancer. Let's also talk about money. Let's talk about the cost and see how much it costs to treat patients with rare disease every year. We'll see how much that costs to the NHS. And let's look at the scale and the scope of rare disease, exactly how many people worldwide have it. And currently, what are some barriers to treatment? What are some difficulties for people with genetic disease? So before we begin, welcome back to the channel. My name is Miguel, aka Mr. Investor, and today we're going to be covering Bionano Genomics. We also cover NNDM. I've been away for a while because I've been working like crazy 65+ hour weeks just so I can buy the dip on Bionano Genomics, and I've been aggressively investing, so I'm now holding over 4k shares. Please remember, none of this is financial advice, it's for entertainment only. And if you enjoy the content today, please hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and drop me some comments down below. Yeehaw! It's good to be back, baby. Well, first of all, what the heck is going on in the UK? As of 28 February 2022, the government.uk website released this. They're talking about millions of people with rare diseases to benefit from faster diagnosis and better access to treatment. So the government has said, you know what, it's time. They're going to implement some new technology and digital tools to support faster diagnosis for these people with rare disease. And they want to make it easier than ever for these patients to see multiple specialists at once. They really want to continue to have the UK being one of the global leaders in science. So hence they're implementing, action plans committing on research. They're announcing an extra £40 million of new funding to the National Institute of Health Research, NIHR. And they just want to fund future research. They want to look into characterizing and understanding rare diseases a bit better. Some of the stuff they've been talking about is actually screening newborn babies to try and spot genetic conditions early and get them onto treatment. So they ran a new research pilot program. They used whole genome sequencing to screen for rare genetic conditions in these healthy newborns. In terms of looking at the scale of rare disease, there are over 7,000 right now that have been discovered. And while these diseases are rare individually, when you put them together, all 7,000 collectively, they affect 1 in 17 people. This is about 3.5 million people in the UK alone. And out of these 3.5 million people, a significant proportion of them don't have access to the right care and treatment. On that same day, on the 28th of February 2022, Bionano Genomics announced its rare undiagnosed genetic disease strategy aimed at looking at the 350 million people living in the world with a rare disease. What's interesting to note that with these millions of people with rare disease, regardless of them going through karyotyping, FISH, chromosomal microarray, targeted next generation sequencing, and whole genome sequencing, there are still more than 50% of patients who are left undiagnosed. With Genomics England, there's a quick video here I want you guys to watch.
What is genomic medicine? Genomic medicine uses the information in our DNA to inform and personalize our healthcare. Our DNA contains around 3 billion letters of code. Our genome, the instructions for building our bodies. Almost 99.8% of our DNA is the same for everyone. But in the remaining 0.2%, there are differences that can sometimes be harmful. This is where genomic medicine comes in. In genomic medicine, we can have our DNA analyzed to look for these differences. Clinical scientists, geneticists, computer scientists, and clinicians will study our DNA and compare it to many others to work out if we have differences that might contribute to a disease. Then they can figure out what treatment or intervention will work best. This is genomic medicine in action. The NHS has provided targeted gene testing for patients for decades. But new advances in technology mean that now we can look at the entire genome. Genomics England's vision is to support the NHS to make these latest kinds of genomic testing available to every patient, whilst enabling researchers to continuously improve our understanding of diseases. Right now, we help the NHS analyse the whole genomes of patients with suspected rare diseases and specific cancers. But we're working together to expand this kind of whole genome sequencing to many more cancer patients. And in the future, We hope that this kind of genetic analysis will be used to personalize patient treatment, and in some cases, to prevent disease in the first place. So when we see our doctor, they could tell us what conditions we might be vulnerable to and help us treat them early or even avoid them altogether. We are just beginning our journey with genomic medicine. Our mission at Genomics England is to help scientists and doctors unlock the secrets of our DNA for the benefit of everyone.
That being said, somebody within Bionano Genomics needs to target Genomics England, because these guys are partnered with the NHS and provide platforms that enable genomics to be used to diagnose more accurately, treat more effectively, or even spot conditions before the symptoms appear. So those main categories that they're looking at are personalized medicine, fast and accurate diagnosis, and preventative medicine. And within my LinkedIn network, I was taking a look at HEE Genomics Education Program.
Rare disease can be chronic and life-threatening and take longer to diagnose and treat than more common conditions. Genetic Alliance UK and ITM Productions will be shining a light on rare conditions, raising awareness and discovering how scientific developments help improve diagnosis and treatments.
According to this website, PompeiDiseaseNews.com, for an estimated 25 million rare disease patients, direct medical costs were in the range of about $400 billion per year. However, let's focus and look at the UK. According to Imperial College Health Partners, a new report revealed, actually it was in 2018, that whilst undiagnosed, rare disease patients have cost the NHS around about £3.4 billion. This cohort was around 258,000 patients with rare disease, and this was during a 12-month period. So they focused on hospital visits and activity that led up to diagnosis over the prior 10 years. So if we take a look at that and we add it up, it says here that it cost £3.4 billion over the last 10 years. That's £340 million a year. And on average, when we go back to Bionano Genomics website, we can see the blog post talking about rare disease on the 27th of February. They were talking about rare disease not being rare. But what they stated, which is really important, is this kind of diagnostic odyssey. It can take a person with rare disease up to 7 years before they receive an accurate diagnosis. And even with everything they're implementing at the moment, all of these different strategies and techniques, greater than 50% of people are still left undiagnosed. They can't get any treatment, they can't get any answer. If we look at a problem in terms of access, one of the biggest problems is when they actually do get a therapy that works, it's going to cost millions, absolute millions. And not all people have access to this kind of money. So take, for example, the innovative gene therapy we covered before called Zolgensma. So this is for actually spinal muscular atrophy. It's a deficiency in the SMN protein, which leads to splicing defects in motor neurons, loss of motor neurons in the anterior horns of the spinal cord, preventing signaling between the brain and the skeletal muscles. This causes progressive muscle weakness and atrophy. So now they've created this innovative gene therapy, and if the child is given it early enough, it can prevent, spinal muscular atrophy from developing. Completely cured. It just takes one injection, one dose. But right now, that one dose is reported to be the most expensive drug in the world. It's £1.79 million or $2.48 million per dose. And that one dose is enough to cure you. With the NHS, they've approved it, so the NHS will be paying for this. And if a child is less than 2 years old with spinal muscular atrophy, that one-time gene therapy treatment, that $2 million is worth it, because it stops them developing a life of, suffering and pain and all the kind of symptoms that come with spinal muscular atrophy. In terms of the rare disease market, it's actually huge. There's a lot of money that can be made here. According to Globe Newswire, this global rare disease market is estimated to be worth, by 2030, $547.5 billion, and it's going to have a compounded annual growth rate during that period of 13.1%. This is including the whole market, so it's including orals and injectables for patients that are neonatal, children, and adult. Within this report, they talk about several research laboratories focusing on research development to try and create these specific therapeutics for people with rare disease. And if this market is worth $547.5 billion by 2030, if pharma and biopharma companies even secure just 0.5%, not even 1%, but 0.5% of the market, they can secure $2.7 billion a year. Now, this is one of the old tabs that I have. Bionano Genomics dropped all the way down to, I think it was $1.66 at one point, and the whole time I've been gobbling up the shares. Now it's back in the $2 range, $2.34 range, and it could keep increasing. With 4,000 shares at the moment, I'm not going to be slowing down. I'm going to continue dollar cost averaging into Bionano Genomics and accumulating as much shares as possible. With Bionano Genomics trying to provide solutions with genome testing and research, Bionano is offering a suite of solutions with optical genome mapping systems. They've also got the genome analysis software and testing and laboratory services, which may provide valuable answers for people with rare disease today. We've seen people take on the Sapphire and start to explore stuff like dementia and try to actually use Bionano Genomics Sapphire system and develop screening tools before people develop symptoms. If they're able to do that with genetic disease, for example, and with Bionano Genomics talking about, this major part of the solution is introducing new tools that will be able to see more genetic changes that could be at the root of disease. If people were to adopt the Sapphire system and to use it, and develop new screening tools, these new tools are not only needed to improve success rates of testing, but in research to discover new genetic changes and correlate diseases to give doctors and patients more actionable information to work with. I saw a few drug companies also go to Bionano Genomics Symposium. So I'm thinking, are these drug companies focusing on gene therapy? I've been speaking to some consultants, people in the field, people going to conferences, and they're talking about, if you are able to give people this one-time injection, and if their diagnostic odyssey, remains throughout their life, you're saving a lot of money for big businesses. You're saving a lot of money for the NHS, because if they're able to get this one-off injection to fix their rare genetic disease while they're young or while it's early, if you're able to treat them, then it stops them going to all of these appointments just trying to obtain a diagnosis. So screen them early, find a diagnosis, and develop those gene therapies. And this will not only save a lot of money for, health boards around the world, but it will also develop, a lot of money for pharmaceutical. It will bring in a lot of money as well for people who are focusing and targeting rare disease. And it will help out all those people who are suffering to help them alleviate, their suffering and get them diagnosis and stop them being on this long journey thinking, what's wrong with me? What's happening to my body? What have I got? What is this rare disease? So I'm going to get onto editing this video. If you enjoyed this video and you found it useful, please hit me with the thumbs up. Please click subscribe. Drop me some comments below. Tell me what's your positions now in Bionano Genomics? Are you accumulating still? And please also remember, none of this is financial advice. It's for entertainment only. I tell you what my plan is, and I want 10,000 shares of Bionano Genomics at the least. My conviction keeps getting stronger and stronger with this company, because I'm trying to look into the future and see, they're going to be in this booming industry. They've got people interested and people that are big in the game in research and development, taking on the Sapphire system to look at certain diseases, cancer and rare disease. So one of my biggest plays, one of my big genomics bets is on Bionano Genomics. I also bought up a lot of Occidental Petroleum when the market was down on oil. I bought so much. I took my life savings and I bought into Oxy. And now that Oxy is booming and we've seen Warren Buffett buy 91 million shares of Occidental Petroleum, I'm up by about 170% at the moment. When they pay out the dividend and they start to increase dividends, I'm literally going to get the dividends that I'm paid out and continue to average into Bionano Genomics and some of my other plays. And I'm going to try and look for a robotics play, artificial intelligence play, and I want to build out a position in Palantir, really strong position. So while the market's down and all these growth stocks have been hit by, the market, the war with Russia and Ukraine, lots of people panicking, people worrying about inflation, interest rates as well, I'm going to continue scooping up shares. And now that's just my plan, not financial advice. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next time. Mr. Invest a Lot, over and out, baby.